Hey everyone, Parallel here. Welcome to Star Trek Online. This is going to be a guide of the new ground queue binary circuit. This is one of the new PvE/PvE queues as part of the Reputation Strategic Wargames or Competitive Wargames that just came out with a part of Season 13 Escalation. Since this is a competitive wargame queue, you are actually in a race against the other team, which is made up of players. It's not directly PvP, but you are in competition. So you can see here we're on the red team, on the red side here, and there's actually a team over here on the blue side, and we both have to race to get through this map. Now, this is a sort of a puzzle-based queue. So this first puzzle here, when you enter this room, is a floor... I guess you call it sort of a floor puzzle where there's a part of the floor that lights up and you have to walk across it, and your team has to help you by hitting these panels. Now you can see here I'm actually using a little bit of a trick where, since I don't have the teammates hitting the panel on this one, I'm actually using an ability called Overwatch. This ability actually is one of the tactical abilities, and it will actually put a little bit of a highlight on the floor that will help you get through and see the path that you need to follow, even if it is a little bit invisible. So that's a little tip there. Use Overwatch to get you through, and then once you get to the end of the puzzle, you're going to want to come here, hit this, and that will highlight the floor for the rest of your teammates. So that was the first puzzle. Basically, this queue consists of 3... And I'm going to get destroyed by this guy here. But yes, this queue consists of 3 puzzles that you need to follow, that you need to complete, and you need to complete them quickly because you are racing against the other team. So we just completed the first puzzle there. That is that ground floor puzzle that you need to get through. And then between each of the stages, there is this little area where you need to fight off some bad guys. So we just fought off the first one. We've completed the first stage, and we made it to stage 2. So this puzzle is a maze. And this maze has these little energy balls that flow through it, right? You can't hit those energy balls or you die instantly. Whoa, I better get into this cubbyhole. So that is something you need to avoid. Oh, and it looks like someone made it through. So we made it through. There's actually 3 hallways with these energy balls that you need to make it through.
The second challenge.
Ooh, the other team is doing really well. So we're going to head over here. Oh, so I hit the energy ball and it instantly kills you like that. I thought I made it. So we're falling behind here. Now, one thing you can actually do, this little panel over there at the start of each area, what you can do is you can actually use that to spawn as a Borg on the other team's side of the map, and you can actually screw with them. And it actually can be effective if you want to slow them down and let your team get through. When you're spawned as that Borg, I mean, you get some special abilities and things to, knock down and pull the enemies, and it can really do a number on them if you want. One thing to note is that right now there's a little bit buggy when you take over the Borg drone like that. It does mess up your hotbars, so watch out for that. So here we go. We've got some heralds we need to take care of. And then we'll take us to the third stage, which is the third puzzle that we need to do. This puzzle is a puzzle where you have to open up this pathway, and when you go in, you can see there's actually colors here. So you see this side is blue and this side is yellow. So you have to use these panels on either side to match up the colors. That one is yellow, so that's good. That one's yellow, so that's good. So, and there we go. It looks like we're doing good here. It's very good for a pickup group. So yeah, there's 2 panels on each side. You just use them to rotate the tunnel sections, and once they all match up with the color on the front, then you will be able, there'll be a path that goes through, and you'll be able to go through. This takes you to the final section. This is actually a very fast queue if you're doing good. This section is basically a gauntlet of bosses. After you defeat the initial enemies here, you will activate that gauntlet, and you need to kill 3 bosses faster than the other team. And, okay, it looks like someone already activated it. You do need to hit this little pylon there to start the boss gauntlet. And here we go. We've got an elite tactical drone here. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out, get that going, get this. Let me get my use all my cooldowns here. Okay, we got some Tholians this time. The enemies are all randomized, right? So you do got to be aware of that. You're gonna get any kind of enemy, and sometimes that adds a little bit of a RNG element to your run, because if you get like an enemy like Not Cool that have those invulnerability shields, it can really slow down your team and make it. Ooh, this is gonna be closer, guys. I think we're gonna do it. Yep, they just got to the room and we're almost done here, so I think we've got this one in the bag. There we go, we got it, guys. So that was still a close one though. See, the other team had just made it to the final room, and they were starting the boss gauntlet themselves. So this was a really close one here. Let's go ahead and claim the reward. And okay, so this was actually, yes, I did run this on Elite, just in case you were wondering. I didn't mention that up front, but for Elite you do get 3 assessed stratagems and your Elite package, and your Elite package will give you a salvage technology. The Elite stratagems, those are the Elite marks for the new Competitive Wargame reputation. So this is actually a very good queue. If running this on Elite is a very good way to get marks and grind out the new reputation. So I highly recommend it because it is such a fast run. It is actually quite fun. You can actually see it was very competitive. The other team was almost there. I mean, if we had been slacking off, they would have won. So that is one thing I do enjoy about this queue, just that it's so fast, and it is actually pretty high adrenaline. You know, it's a lot of fun. Now, let me just quickly go back through some of the puzzles here and just try to explain it a little bit more, since we have a little more time here. Well, before I get kicked out of the map and we're not racing right now. So you can see there, when you come into this third puzzle, so this is a third puzzle area, you can see here this side is blue and that side is yellow on the entrance, and then you'll come over here and you'll use these panels to rotate the tube, so this side matches the blue and then this side matches the yellow, right? And there's 2 panels over there. And you can use the panel right here to go over to the other side and as a Borg. Now the second puzzle, this was the maze puzzle with the energy balls that you have to avoid. This is actually, this one can also screw you over because it is actually a randomized path. And you have to go through these 3 hallways, and if you get you know, a really long hallway with lots of energy balls going down, it can really slow up your team and screw you over. So, and sometimes the energy balls are going in a crisscross path and it's hard to avoid them. But you do just need to make it through all 3 of those hallways. You can actually, if you find like these little cubby holes, sometimes there's a panel in there, and you can activate that panel to turn off the previous energy balls in the previous hallway. But again, it is a randomized path. You can't just memorize it. I tried that. It doesn't work. It's random. And then finally, this was the first puzzle, the floor puzzle, and basically you just have to keep hitting this panel to highlight the floor. I just got kicked out. But you need to keep hitting that panel to highlight the floor, so a teammate will be able to run through and well, the floor is visible, they'll be able to run through and not fall off and die. So that first puzzle does seem to take the most coordination. It's better to have someone keep hitting those panels to keep the floor highlighted for somebody else to make the run. Now, like I mentioned at the very beginning, that with that tip, you can actually use an ability like Overwatch. You can see how the Overwatch has this graphic that kind of highlights the floor that you're on. That actually works really well if you're not in a coordinated group. And you know, I usually run in pickup groups, so it can really help in those cases if your team's not working well together. This can help get you through that first puzzle section. I've seen some people, like engineers, also they will place turrets and things on the ground along the path to hide, so those you can actually see where the path goes. That works pretty well. There might be some other abilities. I'll have to test it out and see if there's any other abilities that are available that also kind of have that graphic along on the ground that will actually highlight the floor. There may be some other abilities out there that do that. So that is the queue, guys. It is very fast. It is a lot of fun, and since it is so fast, I consider it to be actually quite efficient for grinding out your marks. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the UI again here, and let me just give you kind of my final thoughts here on Binary Circuit. Now, since this one is so efficient, I highly recommend doing this one. The other option available to you if you want to do a space queue is the Core Assault. However, this one I have had very much a worse experience with. This one is very punishing if you're not in a coordinated group, and I haven't found any good shortcuts to get around it. A few of the puzzles really require all 5 of your team to be on point. In particular, there's a puzzle where there's like an energy package you have to deliver to open the door, and everyone on the team has to do it. And if even just one person's not with it, it can really screw you over. And there's a combination puzzle. There's just the puzzles in the space one are just much more punishing and require a much better group. And to that end, every time I've run Core Assault, it has been terrible. I've run it 4 times now, and I think only once have I even made it to the energy core room at the end where you can actually PvP against the other players. Every other time I've been in a group where either 1 or 2 people didn't know what was going on, and it really held up the whole group, but we couldn't even make it. So Core Assault, and it's just much longer as well, so it's a longer queue. It's a lot more frustrating and punishing for pickup groups. If you're in a coordinated group, you can go ahead and knock yourself out, but as a pickup group, I highly recommend going Binary Circuit. Now, Binary Circuit does require some coordination, and certainly a coordinated group will probably stomp over a pug, but I've found this to be improving even over the last few days since this queue has been out. People are starting to learn the puzzles, and pickup groups are getting a lot better. And in the case of Binary Circuit, you really only need like 1 or 2 other people who are who understand the puzzles to help you through to make it through. You don't have to be all 5 perfectly in sync. So Binary Circuit is a lot less punishing. And I just find it to be a lot more fun just in practice. Having played both of them, in Binary Circuit, I've had a lot of matches that are really, really close. Like that match we just played, both teams are right there at the end. And I've had that happen a lot where it's just a very close race. It gets your adrenaline going, and it's a lot of fun. And it's over, it's quick. It's 5 minutes long. Or even, I think there's even some speed runs out there that are like 3 minutes. It's crazy. That makes it actually pretty efficient. You can just run this, grind out your marks. Even with a loss, even if you lose, even if your team makes it pretty far, even if you make it to the last room where the boss gauntlet starts, if you make it past all 3 puzzles, you still get a significant amount of marks. Let me scroll back up here. I got, how many marks did I get for that? Did I pass over it already? Because I did get the daily marks as well. Here we go. So that was 150 marks for a elite win. On a loss, I've gotten, I think, 90 plus, even on a loss, as long as you make it to the end room. So it's a very good, it's very efficient, fast, and it's actually pretty fun. I have to admit, I was skeptical going into Season 13 here. I'm not much of a PvP person, at least not in like RPGs or MMOs. It's not my thing. I'm not a huge fan of like gear-based PvP. I prefer more like skill-based PvP. So I was not really looking forward to Season 13, but I have to admit, Binary Circuit has kind of won me over. It's actually kind of fun to be racing, and it's not, it's not direct PvP where you're killing the other players. Only if you use that feature where you can spawn as a Borg and mess with the other team, that's kind of more direct PvP, but even that's more gimmicky. But it still means you have to work fast. It still gives you that motivation to at least beat the other team in the race. And but it's good enough where even if you lose, you still get a pretty decent reward. You can still get your marks. You can still get the elite marks as well if you lose, and you also get the reward package at the end for your for the elite queue or whatever that gives you your the materials and whatnot and the salvage technology, and you get all that good stuff. So it's really it's actually a lot of fun, I have to admit. So guys, that is Binary Circuit. I would highly recommend this queue, and if you're in a pickup group, this one is actually pretty fun, and it's not too painful, not too punishing, and it's not nearly as bad as Core Assault. So there you go guys. Hopefully those tips helped you out. It is a bit of randomness, though. You got to be ready for that. I've been in some matches, particularly if you're fighting against Not Cool. Those seem to slow you down the most, and because they have those invulnerability shields, they take you a long time to get through those Not Cool. You can also be screwed by a little bit of the randomness in the maze puzzle in the stage 2. And stage 1 can also take a bit longer if your team's not coordinated and whatnot. So there is some randomness there, but even in that case, you can, if you're fast and your team is good, you can make up for those randomness and still make it and still win. So that's what I like. It is a it's a very good queue, and you don't want to give up right away. You want to keep going. You want to get to the end. It's easy to come back. Another team can get held up at one phase, and you can get through it real fast. So, it's worth sticking it out to the end and trying to actually win. All right, guys, so that is my guide for Binary Circuit. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments down below. It is very fun, and I highly recommend doing this to grind out your reputation marks for the new Competitive Wargames reputation. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.